Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Today, I want to talk to you all about what to do when it's not working. Now, if you're catching this on the live stream or you're catching a replay, let me know in the comments. Has there been something that you've been working towards recently that doesn't seem to be quite working for you? Is there a goal that you haven't quite been able to manifest? This is so common. This happens to all of us. I think we really need to recognize that, you know what, sometimes we will set a goal, sometimes we will have a desire that we wish to manifest. Sometimes we put our human constraints around it as well, like I want to manifest this by X date, and it doesn't always work out. And so we need to have a reality check and have a look at that. It doesn't necessarily mean it's never coming. And if we don't follow a process, or if we don't open up and have a look at actually reviewing what's going on and how we can move through this, it can take us completely off course. It can take us off into a world of feeling disappointed, feeling defeated, feeling like the universe doesn't really have our back, feeling like maybe we don't really deserve it, maybe it's never going to happen for us, and it can be a real pity party. I don't want you to get stuck in that energy. We need to be resilient and we need to keep going on this manifestation journey. These are just bumps in the road. They're like little speed bumps that come up. So this has happened to me so many times. I mean, most of the time manifestation works really, really well, but it doesn't always work really well. Sometimes we can put a lot of control, our human control, into what we're trying to manifest. And I think that's one of the things that we really need to check in for. Is it in our best interest? Is it in our highest interest to have this manifest into our lives in the way that we envisioned it to happen? Is it that we have set it a very human timeline, and yet the universe doesn't necessarily work on the human timeline, right? Because time is a human construct. So if you set a goal to say manifest something within a month and it doesn't manifest in a month, well, maybe the universe knows that you've got a couple of different things to work through before you're going to be completely in alignment with that coming into your life. Maybe that's going to take a couple of months. Maybe that's going to take 3 months. Does it really matter if it takes 3 months if you actually attain it eventually? So sometimes we need to have a little look at what's been going on, what are our expectations around all of this. I can give you a small example, from the work that I've been doing recently, because you're here in this community. So, I'm building this new community. I'm hoping to draw together lots of wonderful, aligned, heart-centered people who are working in business, whether it's coaches, whether it's healers. I know that there's some artists in here as well. It's so wonderful to see so many like-minded spiritual people coming together in order to co-create together. And that's what I'm hoping to create with this community. So I set myself little milestones every week that I'm writing in my journal. And last weekend, I was hoping by Sunday to have 60 people in the group. Now, I didn't have 60 people in the group. I had 57 when it came to Sunday. So I was 3 away from that. But do you know, because I have been through this manifestation process many times, I've kind of deconstructed it. I've had a look around my expectations of what I'm manifesting. I was able to stay in a place of, do you know what? 57 is damn good. And actually, I know that the people are coming, and they're going to come when they're ready. They're going to come and find this community when it's the perfect time for them. And I know that it's all going to come together. It may not be on my timeline. Now, I like to set myself these goals in order to see what resistance comes up, see if there's any blocks that are stopping me from taking action on the kind of human physical realm. So more than anything, the goal helps me with my mindset, but it's not necessarily that I get to control the universe completely with that. Sometimes I have to let it go and let divine take over, and just, know that I may not know the how, but I know it's coming. I may not know the exact when, but I know it's coming, and I keep that faith. So that's the kind of energy I would love for you to stay in as you're working towards manifesting your goals, because this is the energy of staying in it. The only way that you can fail on this journey is by completely quitting. And the universe doesn't want you to quit on it, because every time you take inspired action, the universe meets you halfway, so you need to keep going. So I want to talk you through a few different things that you can do in order to keep going when things just don't seem to be working out as you expected. Okay, so number one, I want you to check in and see if there are any limiting beliefs, blocks, patterns, anything that's coming up that is not having you in complete alignment with you receiving and allowing this thing to come into your life. So let's just take the example that I had with, I wanted to have 60 people in the group by Sunday. I mean, I got that by Monday, by the way, which is wonderful, isn't it? But what we want to do in that situation is ask yourself, okay, this was my goal. So if there was one thing stopping this from coming into my life, what might it be? And see what comes out. When you ask your brain these types of questions, it's a little bit like doing a Google search, and your brain's going to go off and find the answer and come back with something. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of expected, I know that. And other times it might be a real gem that comes out and you're like, wow, I didn't know that I was hanging on to that belief. So see if there are any obstacles in there. And if something comes up for you, like some common ones might be, well, I don't think it's really possible. I've never done anything like this before. I'm worried that, I have to work too hard to actually have all these clients. I have to work too hard to have all of this money coming into my business. I don't know. There's so many different blocks that can come up, but there's some common ones. So I want you to really poke holes in whatever comes out. Have a look and see what the actual truth is. Don't indulge in that story and just go, oh, okay, I guess that's true then. This is never going to be the case for me. Because really, most of the sentences that are flying around in your mind are stories. These are things that we've picked up over time from other people, from things that we've seen. We've put two and two together, and it does not always serve us. So we need to poke holes at this. Is this really true? Is it written in the stars that you are never destined to have this thing in your life? No, that is not the truth. So come back and have a look at what is the truth of this. Is this really true? Is it serving me? What else is true? So I could have said, well, if there's one thing stopping you, what would it be? Well, maybe there's just not that many people out there that want to talk about manifestation at this point in time. And then I could say to myself, well, is that true? No, that's not true, because I see that there's lots of great active manifestation communities out there. And I know that there's an appetite for this. And I love doing this work. And I know that there are other women that want to do this. So it is not true. It is not true that there's not an appetite out there. I just need to keep showing up. I just need to keep showing people that, there's an option to come and join this community. Come and join whenever you want. And people will come when they're ready. And I trust that. So see if you can poke any holes in whatever limiting belief that comes up for you. Now, the second thing you want to do is you really want to make sure that you're having a look at your negativity bias, because your negativity bias will come up by default from your mind. We've spoken about this a little bit before in one of the previous sessions. And, your negativity bias is the thing that is going to show you all the things that are not going right. By default, it is going to prioritize those over and above everything that's happening for the good in your life. So we need to ask the question, what has already gone well? Are there any signs that this is already shifting for me? Are there any signs that it is coming and that it is working? Ask yourself that question. See what comes out when you ask that question, because your brain is going to gloss over that unless you actually ask it to go and find that information. It's going to show you all the ways in which you failed to see this goal. Now, I can show you, or I can give you two examples, recent examples from things that I've been doing recently that show me that things are working. So the first one, let's go back to my other example. I was hoping to have 60 people had come into the group to start talking about manifestation. I only had 57 by Sunday. So were there any signs that it was working? Well, yes, because I went from 30 the previous week up to 57. So I found, there were 27 new people that came and joined, and that was so wonderful. So I needed to give thanks for that, appreciate that, and see it is working. It may not be on my timeline, but it is working. So I'm going to open up and just let it be. Another sign that I can give you that I've noticed recently as well is, as we've been talking about this a little bit more, I've been doubling down on some of my money mindset practices. And I find that as you clean up your relationship with money, things with money just start to change. It's so interesting because money is energy, right? And I've got multiple different income streams. One of my income streams, I do some consulting. Whenever I send the invoice to this company, they always have in the past paid late, like really late. So when I do a day's of work worth of work for them, I usually like budget in my mind, I'm probably going to get the money for this in about 8 weeks. It's just like lots of red tape. It takes ages to go through their system. Anyway, this month they paid like early. Like, what? That is so weird. Why did they pay early? So I can see that things are shifting. Things are shifting in my favor. So, can you find any evidence that it's working? And if you do, give thanks, give gratitude, appreciate what is already shifting in your favor so that you can notice what's working with the universe and actually acknowledge that as well. You're not just glossing it over and going, oh, it's not working, when actually the universe is bringing you stuff and you're not even looking at it otherwise. Okay, so that's the second thing I would suggest. And the third thing is to use mantras to help keep the faith and to keep going. Because, like I said, is it written in the stars that you cannot have this? No, it's not. So you need to try and find some ways that you can keep your vibration high, keep the faith, keep up that law of assumption as well. Like, it is mine, it's in the vortex, it's coming to me. My job is just to align to it. I don't know the how, I don't know the when, it's coming. So you can use some of those law of assumption type affirmations if that feels really good to you. You know, like, I know it's coming, it's here, it's already mine, it's a matter of time, anything like that, that can work really well. It's happening now, it's already happened. The other thing that I like to say as well is this or something better, because sometimes we have such human limitations around what we think we can have. And sometimes we set our goals really small because maybe we don't feel like we're worthy or deserving or that we can handle something that we might truly deep down want. So I often say as well, this or something better, trusting that even if I don't manifest exactly the thing in the shape and the form and the quantity that I set out to do, I am trusting that I'm going to get that or something even better. So keep that faith high, keep that vibration high as you go through, and just keep going, keep up with the inspired action. So you've cleared any limiting beliefs, you're poking some holes in them, seeing if there's anything in there that's stopping you, questioning the truth of that, having a look at how you can disprove that theory that your brain has offered you. You're having a look for any signs that it's working, making sure that you're acknowledging all the ways that the universe is already starting to shift and evolve and move and bring things to you. And then thirdly, keep going. Use affirmations that help you to keep the faith up, keep the hope up. This or something better, it's happening, it's a matter of time. Okay, so that is my suggestion for you to keep going when things don't appear to be working. I hope that's helpful. Maybe you want to save this one, come back to it later, because I know that this is a common thing. It comes up all the time. We cannot predict how things happen. We cannot predict what will happen, how it's going to happen. So it's really worthwhile, just having a process to go through when this does come up for you. Okay, have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow.